Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course, Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, and Herrick.
Hey, partner.
Brother. Everybody get back to school?
Yeah. I got my Liberty Dad little thing here on my desk. Liberty undefeated season.
Well,
Conference USA, they're Friday night. They're playing New Mexico State in the Conference USA Championship on CBS Sports. And by the time we show this, I don't know who won. But
New Mexico State head coach, ex-SIU coach Jerry Kill.
Is that Urlacher? Did Urlacher go to New Mexico State or New Mexico?
I want to say State.
Okay.
I want to say State.
Liberty, I mean, I don't know how you get any better than a perfect season. I mean, they're the only school with an undefeated record that's not going to be in the college football playoffs. And look, strength of schedule, I get it. Conference USA is not.
You just said it.
Not the Big Ten, though I do think there's some bias because it is a conservative school, that they should be ranked higher than 20, whatever they are in whatever poll.
Okay, play Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame.
I think they could, man. I think they could play Ohio State or Notre Dame. I don't know about Michigan, but
what was the biggest team they beat?
They had a big win early. I have to go back and look.
Exactly.
But I think they should be ranked higher than 20. Let's put it that way.
Okay, 19.
So, and if they win, my understanding, according to my college football expert, Drew, if they win their game and Tulane loses their game, they will make a New Year's Six bowl, probably the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, and we may go to that. So,
very nice, very nice.
And it's an up and coming school, man. It's a great institution.
And that's where your money's going.
Got to go somewhere, right? Might as well go to a good school.
It's an expensive associates. So the Thanksgiving holiday came and went.
Yeah.
Saw you on the bigger holiday, Fryfest.
Yeah.
I want to apologize in advance for Drew eating a grease sandwich.
You know, I was worried because we had to rush to the airport afterwards for him to fly
I'm sure
home.
He had to rush other places too.
Well, him and his buddy who has a beard, they reeked of fry oil in the car. Like I'm driving on 294 down to O'Hare. We're starting to get worried. Maybe the TSA might not let him through because all the lighter fluid out there. But it all worked out. He got on his flight and is back at school, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, and he's looking forward. And my daughter thoroughly enjoyed it as well. She stopped by. with one of her
It's good to
friends.
see the Weiss family. It's good to see Andy and the array of fine sundries that we had there. And part of the thing about Fryfest is it is a clearing the bowels of your freezer. So whatever comes in.
And if you eat enough of it, you'll.
Well, it's going into the same oil.
Your bowels, but that's another.
So I was worried about Drew after that bite into that. He probably had like 3 ounces of peanut oil in it.
Yeah, I just attended and had a couple of beverages. I skipped the.
But there was a lot of hits, homemade crab rangoon. We had the Crustables are always a big one. I'll put the picture right here. You can see all that was going down there, but
and there was no fire. The Lake Forest Fire Department did not have to come with the red lights blaring, and
no, it's no rookies frying there.
You know what you're doing there.
But here's Eric. Let's see.
I do want to quickly acknowledge one of our viewers or one of our followers on Facebook. I assume she views us too. Lauren Crowley muccessfully picked me out of the lineup of for my 1978 Little League baseball photo.
I thought I had
and I was a Skokie Indian.
Well, that won't be the Indians any longer.
No, they changed. I think they did change it a few years ago. Lauren Crowley, I owe you a drink at Duffers.
Eric Foote, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. How are you? I'm well.
Oh,
morning, Eric.
Your partner's running a little late, so we're just, we're having a little casual chat here.
Surely. I'm from Cleveland, so I know all about teams changing their names from the Indians.
What is a Guardian?
I don't know, but I heard that you'll notice that the word Indians and Guardians share the last 5 letters.
Yeah.
And I heard that the owner was motivated to pick the Guardian so that he wouldn't have to change all of the characters and all the signs. He could just change half of them. Beyond that, I don't know what a Guardian is other than a money-saving effort.
I mean, I could see some people getting pissed with the Chief Wahoo, but
sure. I watched what was it, the
Major League?
No. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're all doing the during
Florida State, who's probably going to be in the college football playoff. That's where it all started, was Florida State, and then it went because Deion Sanders, Pete's buddy, went to Florida State and then played baseball with the Atlanta Braves. So then the Braves picked it up, and there's actually video of Jimmy Carter doing the tomahawk chop back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's
why not too? They're going to be changing. They're not doing the tomahawk chop, but that sensitivity is going out to all kinds of sports.
Yeah, and the reason we bring it up is the Lake Forest Scouts. There's been talk about that, but my personal feeling is the word Scouts could be Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. So
we did a survey, and 70% of the people that responded, getting on 400 responses. I mean, people are pretty passionate about it. They want to keep Scouts as a nickname. Some person put in there, "What's a nickname?"
Yeah, I saw that. It's the name of the team, right? Is the nickname? Mascot? I don't know.
Well, they're going to take the Arrowhead away, but the Indians were here, or Native Americans. Jesus, you can't say anything anymore. But
original Americans.
Original Americans.
That's another phrase I've heard, which is probably the most accurate of all because they were here first.
Yeah. So if you take all that stuff away, then
how about the Chicago Blackhawks?
Oh, that's a lot of merch. Merch is tough, though. It's not Rocky anymore, right?
Well, I think they get away with it because they basically pay the Blackhawk tribe some good coin every year.
The casino.
They're not a casino, but they. No,
but I mean that's
the tribe. I think that they're called a tribe, is they get paid a certain amount of money every year from the Blackhawks, so they're happy to. And if that ever changed, then they lose that money. So,
right. Well, Eric, while we're waiting for your partner, let's see. Allen is the executive director. You're the deputy, right? You've been
It
there.
was. Titles changed to Director of Finance and Operations, but I've been with the agency a good 4 years, and I've had a lot of different hats through those years.
So you're the money guy.
Yep, I'm the money guy.
Definitely five.
Money makes the world go round. So really important role.
It does, but there's a lot of other considerations, especially in this kind of work. Culture is a really big deal. Sort of the vibe that you set at the agency, so that when people come through the door, they're either met with respectful eyes or they're met with agitated eyes. And that's money. That's the tone you set in meetings. That's the spirit you talk to your employees with. So you'll see that Alan's big about that, and you'll see that when you talk to him.
Oh, he'll pop in. You know, the premise of this show is like we're sitting at the bar and not everybody shows up at the bar exactly on time. So, you know, we'll start talking. Alan will come in and give his 2 cents.
One thing your podcast is exceptional at is reminding people that they have a 9:30 timeline.
I've missed it too, so Eric, don't worry about it.
A reminder yesterday and a reminder last week, and there's 2 appointments on my calendar, and my coworkers are reminding me.
That's the joy of technology. That's a joy of technology.
We're the place to be, Eric. You know, the Lake Forest podcast gets at least 1,000 views every week. So
I did my research, and I saw Holly Kim was on recently.
Yeah,
she's a gem.
Holly, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's spectacular. I was at remember the flood? It was 2000.
Yeah.
Or 18 or something. I don't remember.
No.
7th one. It was within the last 8 years or so, I think. Out western part of the county, and the county set up like an emergency triage center where people could get donations and report their claims and whatever. And I sat at a table with Holly Kim, and she was speaking fluent Spanish to people that were coming to the table that were in need. And she was again talking about meeting people with respectful eyes and kindness. She had it tops. She was great. So I always had a warm place in my heart for Holly Kim after that exceptional performance out there.
Yeah, she definitely transcends party lines. A lot of people, you know, if you look at her re-election numbers, she got a lot of crossover support.
Oh, she's going to the next level. Then we have our guy Vince Vega or Anthony Vega.
Yeah, Anthony Vega. Anthony.
Yeah, there's a different Vince Vega out there. They're very different people. Vince Vega. I crossed Anthony's path too, and he was working at the sheriff's office. He's another winner.
That's right. He was sheriff before, or worked for the sheriff before he became the Lake County clerk. Nice guy.
We have more fans in Lake County than we do in Lake Forest, Eric.
No, not
Eric.
true.
Don't listen to that one.
Well, topics don't just focus on Lake Forest. You talk about bigger issues than Lake Forest issues.
Yeah, we do.
Well, it's just like going into a bar. Some of it's, you know, popular, and as you would in a bar, sometimes politics comes up. Sometimes, you know, homeless shelters comes up. The reason why your topic came up, and I had to ping you guys a couple times to get you on, was we had this guy in a tent, and people are saying, hey, you know, why doesn't somebody tell them, you know, about all the fine facilities in Lake County? And pads came up, and I didn't know pads, it doesn't really get going till like the fall, right? Like when it gets colder.
You'd think that's where my years of experience might be helpful. So pads has had a few iterations since I started in 2019, something like that. Yeah. We had 2 seasons before COVID. We had what we called shelter season and then non-shelter season. And shelter season was October to April, the coldest months of the year. And we'd partner with churches in Deerfield, Gurnee, a lot of Grays Lake, Libertyville, Zion, all over the community. We'd have 2 or 3 churches each night of the week, 7 days a week during those cold weather months that would host 50 to 80 people a night. And clients would go there, they'd have a dinner, they'd sleep on mats on the floor typically, have a breakfast, be given a bag lunch, and in the morning they'd get on a school bus and come back to our building here in Waukegan, do what they're going to do during the day. They can stay here, they could go out, and then they'd come back. Same thing would happen again with different churches the next night, and that would continue through the whole shelter season. And then in the summer, we would shrink that. The churches would take a break, and we used to do a little bit at the Foss Park facility in North Chicago for families. There'd be a few beds open there. I forget, like 30 to 40 beds for the families. But otherwise, there was no churches operating. But we still had outreach, and we still do housing, and we still do case management, and we do a lot of other services. But that shelter piece would shut down in the winter. Then COVID hit, and putting people on school buses and stacking them next to each other in church basements was a high infection risk. And immediately that just shut down overnight. March 20th, 2020, I think was the date. I was outside one of the hotels in Waukegan with a credit card, just hoping that we could get everybody we needed to into the hotel. And that became our model for about a year and a half, where we just exclusively had people in hotels. The government recognized that places like PADS were going to need resources. And so, we were originally just coasting on what we had in the reserves and, some private money we could find. But the government eventually kicked in with CARES Act money and ARPA money, American Rescue Plan Act. Subsequently, that was a year or two later. And that paid for the very expensive hotel bills that we've started to accrue. And then about a year and a half ago, we went back to churches, and we had a little bit of churches and hotels at the same time. And we did that again last year. But now this year, we've gone exclusively to hotels. And so the hotels are year round. We've been doing year-round hotels since COVID started. We've just had a little bit of extra church here and there. And this winter, we're saying the churches are having a hard time recruiting volunteers. We had the resources to go full hotel. And so we're making that happen this year, which if you can imagine, Pete, if you had a very difficult stretch, or Joe, and your resources were tapped and you had nowhere to go, I would want to put you in a hotel. I'd want to give you a shower. I'd want to give you a consistent place every day to go to and to come back to, rather than having to uproot you every 10 to 12 hours to a different spot. And so we can do that for the people that need our services. It's an upgrade, and we're glad for that. So that's where there used to be 2 seasons, and now it's pretty much an all-year affair.
What does PAD stand for, the acronym? A lot of people have asked me that.
Yeah, it's providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter, with a little asterisk. So there are many PADS organizations in Illinois, and I think beyond Illinois. There's no affiliation. There's no parent company. We're not a franchise of any kind. I don't know the story. That would be a good research piece for somebody as to why there's all these organizations called PADS. And they stand, some organizations use different letter words for their acronyms, but that's what we've used informally, providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter.
Is the use of the hotels because the hotels are being used less? We hear about a lot of the hotels in the suburban areas were corporate focused. They had, corporate travelers, and business travel is down because businesses use Zoom or whatever for meetings now instead of traveling. So did that present that opportunity?
For the government, I think it did. It was an easy sell because the travel industry and the hospitality industry were hit hard during COVID. And of course, the CDC rules sort of ruined the model that we had during pre-COVID. And so the government could kill 2 birds with 1 stone in a way. They could really help the homeless community and provide some relief to the hospitality industry as well. So at least that was how it was packaged early on. That has since softened, I think, quite a bit. I think the hospitality industry has rebounded rather well. And I know some of the hotels that we used were eager for our business in the beginning and are no longer eager for our business now, because I think they've had a resurgence. So boots on the ground, I can tell you they seem to be doing better. They're not nearly as eager as they used to be.
So getting back to why we have you on the show, Eric, is we had this guy in a tent, communities in an uproar. don't feed the bears. That kind of mentality was going on. And this gentleman was asked, hey, do you want to speak to a counselor? Do you want to hear about the opportunities like pads? And he said, no, I just want to, hang out here. How far can you go? Because you have that Homeless Act that was passed with the help of Senator Julie Morrison to give dignity to homeless people. But you can't, if they don't want the help, like what can you do? Because this guy was like stationed in front of a bank, a coffee house, well positioned in town, nice little plot of land there. If you see somebody there, how can you offer help to somebody that doesn't want it, or softly, gently suggest, hey, try out pads?
Yeah. Well, the easiest thing to do is to call us, to tell us all the information you can about their situation. Where are they? When are they there? What do they look like? Age, race, all that, so that we can help identify them. We have an outreach team that is fantastic about going out and engaging individuals in their communities. And we have a van full of supplies to help them. If they don't want to come with us, at least help them survive the night wherever they're at, because we don't want them to end up injured or whatever might be, frostbite that could happen. So, and some individuals are comfortable, right? This gentleman or person, I don't know if it's a female or male, this person might have their resources. They might be near a job, they might be near family, they might be near whatever it is, that they might know how to get food nearby wherever they're camping. They might know how to get their bank might be there. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason they're in that area. And so suggesting that they leave that network that they've built for themselves and trust us over here in Waukegan to just come to us and we'll take care of it. I think you can imagine in that situation, there are people who are going to say, I've got what I need right here. Leave me alone. I'm fine. And so our job at PADS is to find that person, to build that trust with them, which you may not be able to do in the first meeting. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 meetings before they start to build that rapport with you. And we can either bring them into our shelter services or find them an apartment somewhere. There are resources to help individuals, pay for their rent and the utilities and whatever, and get back on their feet. And so the best thing really is to call us, tell us about it, so we can engage that person and get them safe, and then hopefully engage them in services.
The Lake Forest Police Department has a social worker, full-time social worker.
Yeah, that's true. Not every community has that, so kudos.
Yeah. So I assume you guys work with people like that and try to piggyback on each other's resources there to deal with these situations. Absolutely. But I think, like you're asking, like sort of when the rubber meets the road, we can't drag them out of a tent. We're not police. We can't arrest. And very often people are within their rights to put up a tent and stay where they're staying and do what they're doing. And it may be unsightly to some in the community, but if they're within their rights, then they're within their rights. Are there cases though? Because I went to college in Chicago. I've worked in Chicago. I've been going, downtown Chicago for over 30 years, and where you see a lot of homeless people. No matter what the economy has been. I mean, even when the economy was roaring, there were still homeless people. Sometimes you just get the impression it's not just an economic issue, that there could be mental illness, and they may say they're fine, but they're not fine. I mean, what happens in those cases where the person says, I don't want your help, but they clearly need your help?
Sure. So we were talking about sensitivity to words earlier when we were talking about the whatever. So we're saying homeless people, in the sphere that I'm in, we like to say people experiencing homelessness, so that you understand that this is a person and this is just a part of their life, and sort of use that linguistic trick to hopefully infuse in your brain that we're dealing with just people who are at a point in their life that this doesn't define them, or people are starting to say unhoused as well. And some corners of the government want us to call them consumers, which is the worst. So you can go with people experiencing homelessness or the unhoused.
That's fair.
But yes, mental illness is thick in the population. If you're interviewing individuals that are really versed in this, Ryan Dowd is a gentleman. He's an attorney. He was the executive director of a facility in the southern suburbs in Aurora. The name of it is escaping me, but he did such a good job there, and he went and built some training programs, and he's done a lot of research into this. And he'll tell you that mental illness, I forget the percentage. It is an enormous percentage of the population. It may not be half, but it's near. And then traumatic brain injury is a really big part of the population as well. And then substance use, of course, and those can overlap. You can have dual diagnoses. So yeah, and we see it here in Lake County. The resources to provide interventions for individuals that are having mental health issues are meager, especially if you're at the bottom end of the economic ladder. Maybe you don't have insurance. Even if you do have insurance, getting into a psychiatrist that's going to provide you psychotropic medicine, maybe strong psychotropic medicine, is difficult to do. And then, of course, there's going to be a cost to that. And if your mental illness is such that it might be your whatever, maybe just telling you you're fine or don't do it or whatever it is. And there are a lot of limitations that the police have and others have to force someone to receive treatment. It's very difficult to do that unless someone is really presenting as harmful to themselves or others meaningfully. There's little the community can do to, again, if you see that they need help and they're not accepting your help, it really has to be a pretty dramatic situation for someone to have to be forced into a hospital and forced to take medicine.
What I learned about this, Eric, was, and this occurred over the summer, is look, I'm going to get the names wrong. It's, what'd you say?
People experiencing homelessness.
I can't
do it.
But here, there's 3 types of homelessness or unhomed or whatever you said. Sure. I think the gentleman that we're talking about, the term urban cowboy, the guy wants to live outside. Here comes Allen. He wants to live outside, leave me alone. Okay, you can't put up a tent. If you put up a structure, that crosses the line and they move it. But if you're on a plot of land and you want to stay there, okay, great. I don't think PADS is for the urban cowboy. You have somebody that something happened in the family, car got possessed, home, evicted, and need a place to go. I don't know what kind of homeless you call that, but those are the people that really need the help. So this urban cowboy got all this, and Eric, I'm sure you don't like that term, but that's what was going around town. Sure. That's not who we're trying to help here. We're trying to help the families, the single moms out there. There is a place to go that's safe. And that's what PADS is all about. That's what I learned. And look, we have Allen on. Allen, how are you, my friend? Welcome. Welcome to the bar.
You're muted, Allen.
He had an important meeting. He didn't say much.
Pete, Joe, really good to meet you guys. And thank you for inviting us to the podcast. It already sounds interesting. I've only been here 5 seconds.
That's part of the script. Thank you. No, we're going over the history of PADS, and there's the different types of homelessness. And Eric was giving me the proper terms, which, people need help. They need to know where to go, and that's why we're using this podcast. Hey, there's something that's out there that can offer, a clean room, a shower, dignity, and all that. And that's where PADS came up over the summer, because we had a gentleman that was camped out in the middle of town, and I call him an urban cowboy. I don't know what to write. He wasn't homeless. He had a tent, but people kept going to him and say, hey, have you heard about PADS? Have you heard about these other things? And the guy said, no, I don't want any help, but that raised attention and awareness, to your cause. And of course, on social media, I was hounding you guys, hey, why don't you come on? People want to know about this stuff, because we got a lot of guilty Lake Foresters out there that, want to help, write a check. You want to feel good, especially this time of the year. We haven't even gotten into how we can help you out with donations and whatnot. But Alan, how did you get a part of PADS, and what is your role there? How can we use the airwaves, the YouTube waves here to help you guys out?
Thanks, Pete. So my role here is executive director. I've been here for about 3 months now, and I come from doing a little bit of work with the Obama Foundation around something called My Brother's Keeper, which is a national initiative that is geared towards changing outcomes for boys and young men of color. And then previously, prior to that, I was at DuPage PADS, where we did the same exact kind of work that Lake County, PADS Lake County does. And then prior to that, I was at Connections for the Homeless. Learned a lot. I think one of the major things that I've learned over the years is how to approach the homelessness challenge. And the way that we approach that is understanding that it is a system level challenge. And what it requires is systems change for us to actually address it and solve it. We can always continue to work at the lower level to, ensure that people have shelter, a safe place to sleep, some case management, and some other services to get them back on their feet. But until there's a tightened safety net throughout Lake County, we'll probably continue to run into some of the same challenges that make people homeless over time. The urban cowboy term, I've actually heard of that guy. And I heard that he did refuse some of our services in Lake Forest. But I also recognize why some of our clients would do that, or potential clients. And oftentimes they've probably engaged with institutions, and it was really difficult for them to access those resources. And then they kind of give up. And then they resolve themselves. And so it's something to think about, something to be compassionate around, because the homelessness does not discriminate. And I know that there's an issue, like whether or not there's a substance use issue when it comes to homelessness, or all these different negative connotations. But oftentimes homelessness causes those maladaptive coping skills to appear, like substance use. And so I think this podcast can serve as an opportunity to kind of educate the public on some of the challenges with homelessness, some of the challenges that PADS is running into, but also bring the community together around it, because there's a lot happening when it comes to housing, and there are a lot of organizations that want to solve this entrenched, intractable problem that's growing inside of the county. And what we need is to just come together to do that.
So if we're walking down the street in Lake Forest, or a lot of times I'll see like Costco over the weekend, some guy was standing in the intersection there with a sign saying, I think it said homeless veteran or something to that effect, asking for money. And people, and people want to help, but there's a rule of thought here that, hey, if I'm better off getting this person to this organization with this network of support that you guys have built, rather than just giving them a couple dollars.
Yeah, that is, we would have to unpack that conversation, Joe, because, what I would start with first is whether or not they're homeless. A lot of our panhandlers inside of the county, we have
the Freshmarket guy has been documented to not be homeless and lives actually in a fairly nice home, I believe, in Waukegan.
Yeah, and
he's basically a con artist.
Well, and I don't know if they're necessarily con artists, but what we see is, like, when an individual becomes housed, what happens is eventually, because of the community that they've developed, around the shared challenges that they had with the homeless community, they kind of continue to gravitate back to those activities, to those areas where they were engaging when they were homeless, even though they have a place to live. So they'll come and they'll continue to panhandle as a way of, making money. I don't necessarily condone that, but I do understand some of the system level constraints and challenges that kind of produce these kind of individuals, right? And so oftentimes, and I would agree that the first conversation is, hey, do you know about pads, right? Do you know that you can get support there? And so it takes some time for those individuals that are living out on the street to actually trust institutions like ours or the police or the hospitals, because they haven't had the best experience with those institutions. And so for us and our outreach team, we make sure that we go out, we build relationships not only with potential clients that are panhandling at businesses or on the street, but also with the businesses themselves, so that they know that they can also call us. Hey, we've got this individual that's, doing XYZ. And we may even have information that may help them understand how to support those individuals. There have been communities that have come together, and usually these are special service areas where businesses would come together and pay a homeless person or a panhandler to keep the block clean, keep that business street clean. And they would, have a small fund, and that person would get paid out of that fund. I've seen so many creative ways that communities and stakeholders have engaged the homeless and those panhandlers. And I think that Lake County is primed for it. I've seen so many, just big-hearted, loving, compassionate individuals and partners and institutions that want to see this challenge resolved. And I think you guys are one of those.
Yeah, I mean, people see this and they're like, this is, this isn't, and not to say Chicago's a bad place, but they're like, this isn't Chicago. We can do better here. And why is, so when you see somebody on the street, outside a coffee shop or outside a bank, you're saying, try to connect them with pads or call pads and let them know. And you guys can look into it and deal with it. Because like I said, I want to help people, but I guess there's that what's that old parable about I catch the fish for you, or I teach you how to fish. I would rather get them into a network and support that network of people who know what they're doing, like you guys, and can help them rise up, rather than just give them $5 or $10 or
my angle is, instead of giving, look, again, I poke fun, but there are guilty people out there that I don't know how they got their money, but they want to, give it to these people outside the stores. My angle is, instead of giving it to that professional panhandler, let's give it to pads and let's put up a sign up. Don't give these people any more money. Give it to pads. If you feel that bad, give it to pads. Can do some really good things. Send the money there. Eric, how do we get donations to you? What kind of help, financial help, do you need? What kind of physical help do you guys need?
Thanks, Pete. So we need a lot of help. As Allen said, this is a community issue. This isn't just a pads issue, and we're going to carry the burden as much as we can. But it's not something that we can do by ourselves. Our big need right now, this time of year, of course, is financial. We'll take all the unrestricted donations we can get. And just go to our website, and there's ways to give there. The padslakecounty.org. And then if it's not that, if it's more material goods, we accept donations at our facility at 1800 Grant in Waukegan, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We are most in need of dry good, like shelf-stable food. So we've got nearly 400 people in our hotel system right now. Many of them don't have regular access to their own means of getting food. So we have to help them with that. And that's a lot of mouths to feed every day. So as much shelf-stable food as we can get, we'll take. We particularly like items like they're called Dinty-Moore meals, or like those kind of microwavable beef meals or whatever, ramen, soups. Those are all very helpful for us. And we accept that. We put them in our little pantry here, and then we distribute them out to the hotels. Also need men's underwear, all new. Sweatpants, sweatshirts, new, are good also. And we purpose those pretty quickly when we get them. Alan, what would you add to that?
I think you covered it, Eric. I think the last thing is we have a matching grant opportunity up until December 21st. And so all financial donations get matched dollar for dollar, which doubles the donation. And so we would appreciate all the support we can get. This is a growing challenge that we're facing. We're seeing on average 41 new households per week that are becoming homeless or housing insecure. And so, if we were to extrapolate that and, extend that out to the next year, what does that look like for the county? What does that look like for our surrounding cities? And who is responsible for addressing that? And so it's going to take a community effort. And Joe, when I heard you say we can do better, as a county, trust me, the truth is everybody wants to do better, and I just appreciate the fact that the conversation is happening, and I appreciate the fact that oftentimes we forget that in suburban counties like this, the poverty rate grows higher and faster than the urban centers that it surrounds. And so there's this thing called the suburbanization of poverty. And what happens is, people in the suburbs are falling into poverty faster than those in the city. And one of the challenges with that is the suburbs wasn't really created to respond to those kind of social challenges. The suburbs were built with people who had means and cars and all these things. They didn't need public transportation and, transit-oriented development and all of the social service organizations. And so they're trying to respond to something that Chicago has been responding to for decades and decades. And so I think Lake County is doing an awesome job. I think spreading the word is an awesome way to continue to communicate the message and just getting people in the room. And so I thank you for this opportunity to do that and share what we do, and also promote our opportunity for giving and financial resources.
And all the donations to you guys are tax deductible, right?
Yes.
So December 21st is the deadline to make that matching grant, but then December 31st obviously is the big time for a lot of charities with end of year donations, right, to get it into the current tax year.
I have to check with my accountant on that. If I just lost my home and I need your help, how do I get your help?
You can come straight to our administrative offices at 1800 Grand. You can also, if that's too far, you can call the number on our website and reach someone, but we will still need to put a name to the face and go through some paperwork with you. So either way, we would still need for those individuals to come into the office. If those individuals are not able to, so you've got Pete, what you refer to as the urban cowboy, and I know why you're referring to him as that, because he's got the tent, he's in the middle of downtown area, as if this is the West Coast or whatever. Right. And so, but I think that we can also send outreach personnel out there, which I believe we did. I did have a conversation with some of Lake Forest Police officers who engaged with this client, and we also engaged with them, and he refused those services. But oftentimes our outreach personnel are pretty successful in engaging clients wherever they are throughout the county, and bringing them to our administrative building for processing and ultimately sheltered.
Well, you guys are trained in dealing with these situations, and I think that's a point that's really important here, is people want to help. But, just like I'm not going to go to my buddy for medical advice, I'm going to go to a doctor for medical advice. And the same thing here. I would rather get you guys who are trained in these conversations involved than me or somebody else trying to say this, unless it's a basic way of trying to get them in the right direction, right? I mean, but you guys do this every day.
Yeah, and for us, it's and Eric, feel free to chime in. I don't want to take up all the space, but for us, we enjoy this work. We love walking with our clients. We appreciate the fact that they allow us into their lives at such a vulnerable time. Could you imagine, all it takes is, and I don't know who's married on the call except for me, but all it takes is a divorce, and then my wife gets all the money, and now I'm homeless. And so it really doesn't matter. You've got so many different kinds of people. And then, mental illness is not necessarily something that you can control. And so we see a lot of, diverse populations of people dealing with mental illness that eventually makes them homeless. And so we work with an array of people. We enjoy the work that we do. We love the community that we serve, and we want to see it grow. We want to see this challenge being met collectively and in concert with one another.
Well, Allen and Eric, we thank you for coming on the Lake Forest podcast. One more time, what is your website?
It's lakecounty.org.
And it's 24
Can I add a couple of notes real quick too?
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
One about the helpfulness of giving. We did talk about how the government has seen the need and has started to step up, and Pritzker's administration has done some work in that regard, and they're putting more resources into this effort, which is greatly needed, and will get more people off of the streets and into homes, and that's what we're in the business of doing. One thing the government isn't good at doing is filling all of the needs. So they'll give us very restricted, very designated tracts of money, and of course, there's never enough of that, which is what these donations help us do, is to add on to those tracts. But there's also all these little gaps, all these little things. Allen mentioned transportation in Lake County, especially if you're a person experiencing homelessness. Transportation is a bear unless you have a car, and then if you have a car, it's a very expensive bear to manage. So that's one of the resources we don't get from the government, or get very much of from the government. And so private funds help with that. They help with all kinds of, when someone moves into an apartment, we don't have really money they have nothing. So how do we get them something to start off with, so that they don't just go back out to the streets where they know they can get stuff? So there's just a full life has an awful lot to it that makes it full. And the government only gives us enough for a few parts of it. And so these revenues, these donations that people give us, really help round out the service that we can give to people that are coming to us that have nothing. And so if your community is giving to us, especially unrestricted funds, it'll be matched up till the 21st. And of course, it's going to really give the people that we're serving those extras that we couldn't otherwise supply. So just to add a little urgency to that need, we appreciate it. And then 2, Pete, you mentioned losing your house, and what do you do? Pete, you should have called us before you got to that point. Sometimes things can be done so that you never have to become homeless, and there are resources for that as well. And so if you know of someone who's on that precipice, have them come to us and talk to us, so that we can maybe divert them from ever becoming homeless at all, prevent that from occurring. And it's not just PATHs, there are other organizations in the community that can do that. And if you're not coming to us, another great resource you've probably heard about, probably from Holly Kim, is 211. When in doubt, call that service, tell them what's going on, and they might direct you to us or direct you somewhere else. But very often you don't need to even hit the streets. There's a way to keep a roof over your head.
There's I'll give a shout out to an institution here in Lake Forest, Christ Church in Lake Forest. Does free legal clinics, not every Saturday, but I think it's certain Saturday every month, where lawyers come in and offer their services free of charge to help with things like this. They also have a wonderful program that we featured on one of our podcasts a few months ago, Matthew Homes, which and we had the mayor of North Chicago on, Leon Rockingham, to talk about how and I know this is a little more advanced. These are people that are ready for home ownership and stuff, but you look at the history, you have some of the folks that evolved from being challenged with homelessness to ending up becoming homeowners, thanks to programs like Matthew Homes. So there's a lot of institutions here in Lake County, and even specifically in Lake Forest, that are there to help, and they're always looking for donations. And it sounds like this matching grant is a great opportunity to really to maximize that donation.
Christ Church is awesome. And Lake Forest is awesome. My experience with the police department, with our faith community there, it's just awesome. We received a donation, or we are receiving a donation from Christ Church, set to be delivered here pretty soon. And so we just appreciate all the love and compassion that our communities share with us and with our clients. And you're definitely right. There are a lot of awesome individuals and institutions in Lake Forest, and we really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I said earlier, full-time social worker for the Lake Forest Police Department. So hats off to Mayor Randy Tack and the city for, making that investment, because there's a lot of stuff happening in a lot of people's lives, and this helps with that.
Alan, Eric, this is a good time to get the word out. Everybody's listening, watching. Open up the wallets, the purses. Let's go. Get rid of some of that guilt. Empty it all here. Help out.
Bring your ramen noodles too.
Dinty Moore.
Dinty Moore.
Thank you for coming on the Lake Forest
Thanks,
podcast.
guys.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye.
Take care now.
All right.
Great guys. Great guys. Busy people. Glad we got
them out. I'm gonna go look through my food pantry here in the house, and all the stuff I can't. The ramen noodles is, my carb diet, no carb diet. I'll gladly give the ramen noodles to Pads.
Maybe I'll give them an invite to Fryfest next year.
No, we want to make their health better, Pete.
Oh, come on, it's all good. So getting back to the holidays.
Oh, ho, ho.
Couple things. I knew it was going to be rough with Randy Tack as mayor. You knew he wasn't going to delay things at all. Missed it by that much.
He's a very brief speaker. He's short. He's not short. He's a tall guy, but he speaks shortly and to the point.
And I'm like, all right,
which is rough. I think that's part of, they rubbed a couple of the non-transparent transparency crowd wrong, but whatever. He's a great leader, and
they all got Santa suck signs on their lawn.
It was so freaking cold that night at that event. I'm glad he gave a quick speech and got us out of there, man. But a great event. Hats off again to Rick Amos and Joe Oriti and everybody at the Park Foundation for what they do. They're the best event planners in town, and they can't control the weather. I've never seen, this was my first one. I've never seen that many people packed into Market Square and Lake Forest. I think it was great. All the shops were busy. Shout out to Gerhard's that stayed open late that night. Mary was there.
Mary's no dummy.
She knows. Yeah, Einstein. Those idiots closed early. but there are no Einsteins there. No, I shouldn't say that, idiots.
Mary pushes out the hot chocolate.
It's a corporate place. They follow corporate structure. The Starbucks stayed open, and they were pretty busy too. My wife spent some money at Lululemon, but you know how that goes. So we're helping the sales tax of the city.
Not at all.
But I think it's great. I think it was a great way to showcase the city and all the wonderful shops in Market Square, in the Market Square area, and restaurants were all packed. Duffers, Lantern, Chiefs, everything.
But again, I'm wrapping up Fryfest and I'm huffing it down the street to get over there, and it's like 5:08, and I could see the lights, and I hear 6, 5, 4. Dang. And I pull up.
Man is on time, sir.
Randy, I'm surprised I thought he was going to do a 3-2-1, but showed up, saw our fine alderman, Eric Gargashian, and then our guy Goshgarian,
who had no coat and no hat on in that photo you put
well,
up.
He was next to me.
It's the Armenian blood. It keeps him warm.
And then Jason, the city manager, was there on his way to Michigan to see them destroy Ohio State.
Didn't really destroy them, but they won.
Oh, that was destroyed. It was destroyed. So it was good. Now I pulled a rookie move. The next day after Thanksgiving. See, the garbage doesn't come on Thursday, it comes on Friday. You got to put the garbage out at the end of Thanksgiving. I didn't. I had 30 bags of garbage piled up. Forgot. Holding on.
Yeah, because the way it works, because our garbage day out here is normally Fridays. But if you look at the Lake Forest website and the City of Lake Forest Facebook page, they tell you that Thursday pickup will be on Friday and Friday pickup will be on Saturday. So we put our garbage out Saturday morning and it got collected by the fine working public works department. You can't expect those guys to work on Thanksgiving. Come on.
No, but they could say, you know what? The garbage can is 20 feet to the right. Maybe, if they want a little white envelope at Christmas time, maybe they could go over there and help out a brother. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, I got it out on Monday. Rookie move.
So the rats have left?
I'm just saying they could have went over and picked that up. Got a show this Saturday over in West Dundee, Joe.
Heart of Glass. When are you going to do it? Can we get you to play at some place? Is there a place in Lake Forest has that concert hopefully they'll continue the concert. There was some talk they might not because they weren't making that much money on it, which I understand. So, but Highwood, man, can you play a joint in Highwood, or can Urso have you play at the bar one night in Duffers or? I want to see you guys, but I don't want to drive to West Dundee. It's a fine community, but that's a long haul, man.
It's at 6:30. I only play early at night, but 28 Mile, I believe that's the place in Highwood. We're working on those guys.
Okay.
Toad, come on, Toad, let's go, man. Let's get.
Yeah, you had him on the very first podcast I was on.
So we got the show coming up. That's a really nice place. It's an old theater that got renovated, and it is sweet. Really nice.
Let me ask you this about these cover bands, because we're seeing more of you guys are a cover band, right? I mean, is that a fair label to give you?
Well, a cover band plays multiple genres, different artists. A tribute band sticks to one brand.
Okay, tribute band.
So
in using the theme of not using adjectives anymore, like we heard earlier with our friends from Pads, you'd be a band that tributes other artists rather than saying you're a tribute band.
When you want to market something, when you want to market something, you want to be quick and to the point so that people know what to expect. All right. Yeah. What are you going to expect? Blondie music. Okay. It's not going to be Tool, it's not going to be Gordon Lightfoot. It's going to know exactly what you're going to get.
I wanted some Gordon Lightfoot.
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the Winds of November. It's
busiest pop song ever was. But you guys, I mean, how often do you guys rehearse? Like every week, or what goes into what you guys do?
Every Monday. So while you're watching the Bears game, I'm hitting the bass. And then the week of the show we practice a couple more times. But the nice thing about a tribute band is once you know the songs, and it's easy to get ready. Cover band, when you want to play a place, you want to say, what's the brand? Let's just say Chick Norris. That was a band that I was in before. We played various covers, and it's like, I never heard of Chick Norris. I don't know what to expect. I'm not going to go. If you like Blondie, okay, you're going to go. Women like Blondie, so that's why we do it. If you got
great music, I mean I'm thinking of all the Blondie songs.
Well, she was very influential, and I'll just throw out Rapture. That's the first commercially successful rap song ever done. Yeah. So,
and they had a hit in the 90s, didn't they?
Maria, 1990.
Yeah, Maria. That was a great song.
Yeah. So, and she's very influential. She influenced a lot of other bands, and the punk scene in New York City, CBGB, a lot of history on it. So that's why
you're the dude in the back playing the bass.
I'm the dude in the back.
Because I try to find you in all the pictures and videos you guys post, and I'm like, where's Pete? I can't find him. Oh,
like I said, nobody comes to see the bass player. All right. So I hang out in back. Charlie Munger, rest in peace, almost made it to 100.
Yeah, I mean, he really was a visionary in the world of finance, right? I mean, you know this.
A real estate guy out of Los Angeles, got to be buddies with Warren Buffett.
Is he the brains behind Buffett? Somebody said
well, I think they were equals. They were really equal. Really? A month away from 100, and I was trying to tell people, hey man, get out to Nebraska. I don't know what they're going to do now, the Woodstock for capitalists, but that's quite the sight to see, to go out there and see the Berkshire Hathaway meeting. And the last thing on my list is I'd like to say hello to Heather Kerr. She was at the tree lighting. She is the sister of our buddy John Kerr, who is the Lake Forest sports expert and political expert on our line of chat. Why do I bring up Heather last? Because we had a little conversation of, the mascot, the Lake Forest High School mascot. There's a lot of chirping going around, and when you look at the website of the school, I should have asked Montgomery that. I should ask him what's going on, but it looks like a slow phase out. So what's it going to be?
I got an idea. I was thinking about this. Have they trademarked it?
No.
Why don't we set up a Lake Forest Scouts store online with the full mascot, the full arrowhead, all that, and we donate all the proceeds to the Lake Forest, whatever, to the athletic team. There's like the booster club or whatever it's called. Forgive me that I don't know the exact name, but just a thought that if they have trademarked it, you sell it, and you give, but not for profit, but you give all the proceeds right to the boosters, so it helps Lake Forest High School athletics. Just crazy idea I thought of.
That's a great thought, and there's 6 bootleg stores that are out there, including the salty Anchor shirts that are out there. These scams.
Well, you can get the faux Chief Illini Wax shirts in some rogue stores in Champaign and Urbana.
But again, the poll that we put out there, 70% want to keep the name, 30% want to change it. I have a pretty good idea who that 30% is.
Like I said, online polls, with all due respect, are not scientific, but I guarantee you,
what poll is scientific?
If this was a referendum on the ballot here in Lake Forest, or in the Lake Forest High School District, which would be Lake Forest and Lake Bluff, I guarantee you that it would pass overwhelmingly to keep the Scouts, and to keep using it the way they've been using it. There's a lot of, even I think I've talked to a lot of people who are liberal Democrats who say this is dumb. This is really dumb. I mean, you got video. God bless Rosalind Carter, just passed away. Jimmy Carter. There's video of Jimmy Carter doing the tomahawk chop at Atlanta Braves games. Okay, so I mean,
but is the arrowhead like negative? They're taking away the arrowhead. It's a reference to Indians. That's who was here before. If you take away all these references, isn't that a slam against the indigenous people?
You're asking the wrong person. Is it a slam when you have the Minnesota Vikings with all the Viking imagery? Is that a stereotype of Scandinavians? I mean, and like I said earlier, to me, it's you got the Miami Hurricanes in college sports, and then you got the Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL. I mean, hurricanes have killed thousands, maybe even millions of people over the years. And you got a team name named after that, and you're more worried about a team called the Illini or the Scouts.
All I know, go to the 115 page and you can see that one logo there. You see the LF, but the spear, that's not. I just keep thinking of.
Well, like I said, all of these, Dr. Montgomery's not on the ballot, but the members of the school board are. And it's a fair question to ask all of these candidates come 2025 in the next school board elections.
Yeah, who's gonna ask, and where are they going to answer it?
We'll be asking it. We'll be asking
to ourselves.
I mean, look, I think a lot more people are concerned about the tax hike. Those tax bills are coming.
Yeah.
Today now, and when people, I mean, you'll know when they hit the mailboxes here in town because you hear that loud scream after people open their mailbox and wow.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. And I think people, everybody's for something until they get the bill.
Life is a buffet, not a restaurant, Joe. You pay it. You pay at the beginning.
It's true. But yeah, I think I think between the taxes and if they try to mess with the Scout, you could see some school board members lose.
Sure.
Or not even get reslated.
We'll see.
But
Joe, I'll see you over at Hometown Coffee.
Hometown. Don't put them in the middle. It's not their fault. That's a great place. They got a lot of good, besides the coffee, they got a lot of good menu items. I like, growing up in Skokie, I need to find a place with lox here in town, and they fill that need. I can't eat the bagels anymore, but they got some good lox at Hometown Coffee.
I go to Gerhardt's.
Gerhardt's is great too. I love Gerhardt's. I mean,
you're always running for something.
Running for the train in the morning and running be on the time for the podcast. I've been there, done that. I've run for enough. I'm running for delegate for Nikki Haley in the 10th Congressional District. So
Nikki Haley.
I'll sign my petition before December 15th.
Absolutely. Joe, all right. Another riveting show. Take care. Happy holidays.
Go Scouts.
Put your garbage out.
Bye. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Go Scouts.
Oh, happy Chanukah, Kwanzaa, whatever.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course, Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit laracycpa.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, and Herrick.